This is Susan Wilbanks with BlendedInsight.com. I am a holistic and integrative healing arts practitioner, an intuitive, and an energy healer. In this podcast, I share tips, tools, and suggestions that have helped me along my path in hopes of inspiring and helping you along yours. Let's get started with today's podcast topic. Hello, bright soul. Thank you so much for joining me on another podcast. I want to start right out by saying I have been in a class for work, so I have not been able to respond to people as quickly and as attentively as I would like to. I actually was in a certification course. It was all online, but if you've ever taken a course where you're getting a certification, it's basically project management. It's a little draining and it's very time consuming. Plus we had pre-work to do and homework to do, and we had to pick projects and work on our projects and group work, all that stuff, all good things. But for that reason, when class was over and I finished my homework, the last thing I was going to do is get on my computer or my phone. I needed a break. So I got that done. And what else is going on here? I'm really looking forward to daylight savings time. I don't like that we do the daylight savings time, but just because I want a little bit more daylight, I'm looking forward to that. And I'm so looking forward to spring. I'm over winter. I was over winter as soon as winter started. I'm not a winter person, but of course I'm always counting my blessings, and I'm choosing to live here. We have 4 seasons, and that's the way life is. Life is a series of pros and cons and ups and downs and lessons. And that's kind of what I wanted to talk about on the podcast today. And that is essentially whatever you've experienced in the past, it's an opportunity to think about what you learned from it and how you can help other people to get through that same thing, or you can share your gifts or your wisdom that you learned so that you can help someone not fall into those same traps. And there's really 2 ways of learning, mentors and mistakes. So the way that I see it is you can be a mentor. And also, what are your gifts? One of the things that I'm running into a lot is the energy in the world has been very low motivation. And I don't know if you've picked up on this, but it may have spilled over even on you. And so what I'm noticing is that there's this general apathy, and it's not even resistant. It's almost like being so worn down that it's like, whatever. And even I had experienced a little bit of that, but mine was partially my grief still moving through and just the losses that I've had. And I've had huge transitions, and I'm really resilient. I've learned resilience over the years. Very little ever knocks me down. And that's one of the things that people will comment and notice about me. But I will say that the losses over the year, on top of all this other stuff that I've been dealing with, really just caused me to be in a state that I really didn't recognize. It was a really good growth opportunity for me, and really just looking at all the ways that my relationship with my father was driving me in my day-to-day life. One of that is because I had lost 2 brothers in automobile accidents, and the level of tragedy that has occurred in my life. I realized that because I didn't want to inflict pain on my father or my mother, but my mother is in the body, but not really, because she's got dementia and it's from her own doing. So, and I'm not saying that to undermine the dementia, because I have a tremendous amount of sympathy and I feel bad for her, and I still send the healings and do all the things that I can do from my standpoint. But I also recognize that we all have a soul's path. And so with my father, because he was struggling with these losses just like I was, but in a different way because the relationship was different, I realized that my day-to-day activity from the time my first brother passed away was centered on make sure you take really good care of yourself and drive carefully, because you do not want to inflict any more pain on your parents, but particularly my father, because him and I were so close. So when he passed away, it was like this whole resistance lifted. It wasn't even a resistance, but this drive that I had, because I would notice, which I'd never noticed before because it was such a pattern in my life, that say I'm getting in the car and I'm going somewhere, I didn't even realize I had this tape in the back of my head saying, be careful, Susan, because you don't want to crash or anything or have an automobile accident, because this is such a, it's such a trigger for your family. That was gone. And so then it left me in this space of like, whoa, an awareness, a deeper awareness that I would never have had if he had not transitioned. Now, I would rather him have not transitioned and me not have the awareness because it's not really that big of a deal anyway. But it left me going back into my past to collect the lessons that I've learned along the way and reevaluate the remainder of my incarnation. What am I here to do? What am I here to teach? What am I here to share? And we all have those abilities. And in the state that the collective is in right now, it can be a little bit more of an effort to dig and do that deep inner work and realize that we are here to shift humanity, and whatever has happened to you in the past can be used as fuel to propel you toward your future, or it can hold you back. It's a choice. And so for me, I'm always thinking, well, I'm still here. And here's the thing, your life is numbered, this body, your time in the body, but whatever you're doing, your contributions and your gifts and all those things, they're going to go with the soul when you leave the body. So there is really no wasted time. And sometimes I hear people say, well, I'm too old for that. Are you though? Because your soul is ageless, and whatever you learn right now goes with you. It goes with the soul. So I don't know that train of thought is helpful. And so what I wanted to offer today is just think about it, because sometimes when we're just inundated with hardship or low self-esteem or challenges, we can be really hard on ourselves. But just consider, what do people say about you? Maybe you can ask that. What do they say about you? What when you leave the body, what are people going to say your gift to humanity was, or to those around you? For me, people are always commenting on my humor, that I make people laugh, that I make people feel better. I have the ability to find humor in all situations, which causes the mood to lighten. Now, I'm not saying to make fun of like inappropriate things, but I have learned to make light of this life, not in a way of invalidating, but in a way of bringing light in. It's probably a coping mechanism that I learned early on, but it actually puts things into perspective a little bit. And, because I know that this time on earth this is temporary, and what I am doing in my soul work, my deep work is going to go with me, and it's going to go with you too. Also, what are you good at? What are your natural gifts and talents? I'm a natural clairvoyant. I have been a natural clairvoyant since I came in. I used to see deceased people in our home growing up, and that would scare my parents. So I shut that down because I would creep them out. I didn't know any different. I just came in that way. So I have a natural gift at looking underneath and seeing what someone is trying to say without them actually saying it. I can see people's intentions. I can see that thing. It's natural. It's a gift. However, there is a difference between gifts and skills. So some things we're naturally good at, and some things we can develop through skills. So what have I developed through skills? Analytical skills. I'm really good with writing. I'm a very good writer. People ask me to proofread their stuff all the time or rewrite it. People ask for my insight on things all the time. And these are people that don't know anything about this business I'm doing, but they just want to hear my take or my opinion on things. And again, it goes back because I am clairvoyant and I'm really intuitive, and I can see things for what it is. I can see underneath, where a lot of people don't have that skill. I never realized it was a skill or a gift until I started to develop it, because I shut it down for a while. So while it was a natural gift, I shut it down and I had to open it back up and start to learn the skill to work the gift. So sometimes you have a gift, but you need to work at it to perfect the gift or to bring out more of it. Also, what do people ask you to do? One of the things that people ask me to do a lot is help them decorate. My mother was a skilled decorator. She just had an eye and a knack for things. And I think I picked that up from her, just being around her. So a lot of times people will ask me to rearrange or help them decorate or, things like that. And I'm only throwing these things out there about myself to get you thinking, what are you good at? And then you can take it one step further to think about all of the things that you have overcome, persevered, or been through. And the way that I do this is I just think, what is the one thing that I wish someone had told me about that experience before I went through it? Or what is the thing that I found most helpful? Or what is the thing that I learned through that experience that worked for me? And that is how we sharpen each other. Iron sharpens iron. That's how we help each other. That's how you can be a real gift and a real service-oriented person. People will be so grateful for you just saving them the time and the pain and the hassle. And it really will also help you to generate good karma by helping and being a person of service. Now, everyone's not going to resonate with what you say. I know I shared a podcast about letting go of things, and I knew someone was going to get on the podcast, because they always do, and defend their position. And I even said in the podcast, please don't do that, because I'm going to delete the comment. And it isn't that I don't want to hear it. It's just that I've heard it already dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of times, and I don't want to hear it anymore because it doesn't resonate with me. And it's not to say that I'm not open-minded, because I am, but my truth is so affirmed within me, just as the other person's truth is affirmed within them, that I can't change what I see. So it's really not even a position of debate. It's like saying, like if I personally ran a half marathon, and there are things that happened in my body during that half marathon that happened, and then I did it again and again. So let's just say I ran, a dozen half marathons, and each time I ran that half marathon, something happened to my body within it. I'm going to conclude that the half marathon is probably not a great idea for me. So if someone comes on the other side and starts telling me half marathons they've been around forever, they're great for everyone, I'm going to say definitively, a half marathon is not, in my experience, it's not for everyone, and it's not for me. So that's not my experience. And so what happens with my platform is I share that, my experience, and it could change. Hey, 10 years down the road, I could all of a sudden decide to run a half marathon. By the way, I would never run a half marathon. I don't know why I'm using that as an example. Maybe someone listening is about to do a half marathon. And maybe it could change, and it would be different. But this is my current reality and my awareness, and I'm sharing from my experience. And I also have a responsibility to share authentically. And so sometimes when people start bringing in viewpoints and I can see that it's out of alignment with my tribe, my audience, sometimes people get offended by tribe. People are going to be offended by anything and everything. Some people look for occasions to be offended. So it's impossible to please everyone. And I know that. But if someone is in my collective consciousness in my group, I'm protective of that. So that's why I always say, if it doesn't resonate, then move on. Find something that does. It doesn't offend me, because that's what I do. There's people that I'm drawn to, that I resonate with, that I listen to. And every once in a while they throw out something that hits me wrong. And I'm like, I don't know about that. That doesn't resonate. What I don't do is hop on and go, that doesn't resonate because this is my experience. But no, I don't. I allow them to share their platform and their experience. And if I have something different that I'm compelled to share, I'll share it on my platform. And to me, that's just good social etiquette. But again, this is my platform, my opinion. So do what you will with it. So I said all that to say, whatever your experiences are, they're unique to you, and they are going to help and benefit someone. Maybe not everyone. And the people that it doesn't benefit, that's okay. There's billions of people on the planet. They get the grace to go find what resonates and what inspires them. Don't allow that to repel you or discourage you from sharing your experiences, because I can guarantee you there will be at least one person that will be so grateful for your experiences and your insights that you've shared based on your past experience. So nothing happens in vain. That's my point. Nothing happens in vain. No matter how tragic the past was, no matter how hard you worked or how long it took you to get there, someone wants to hear that. Let your life be an inspiration. And it doesn't have to be on a huge platform. It can be just with a loved one or a family member or a coworker. And as soon as you make the decision to just shift this and let your experiences propel you in a positive direction, let you be of service just through sharing, it could be something public. It could be a social media outlet, TikTok, it could be anything. But as soon as you make that decision, those people will begin to show up that really are interested in hearing what you have to say. Sharing whatever it is, your gifts. It's a gift. your experiences can be a gift to others. So I don't want to harp on it too much to where you're like, okay, Susan, we get it. Be quiet, move on. So I totally get that. So that is really all I wanted to share. And let's go into a healing. And in this healing, I am just going to clean away any doubts, any things that people have said that, just because they weren't aligned, who knows? You could trigger something in someone that they deep down know they shouldn't be doing something, but because you're sharing a different view that inside them, they wondered about it, they start to take it out on you. It is projecting. And so I'm going to clear all that out of your aura so that you have a clean, fresh inspiration and you can begin to share your gifts and your wisdom. And you can begin to be an inspiration and a teacher in whatever way resonates with you. Okay? Just focus on your breathing. Be open to receive. If you can uncross your arms and legs, it will help. The breathing also helps to release the cords as I'm cutting. Okay, and so it is. And as we wrap this up, just be thinking, what do you wish someone told you? What do you wish that you knew then that you know now that you can share with other people? And now that we have done the healing and you've listened to the podcast, those people will begin to show up. So just be thinking about it. I know your life is an inspiration. We all have things to share. That's why we're here collectively. And I just wanted to say that again during the wrap up. Also, if you haven't left me a review on iTunes, I would really appreciate it because that's how this information gets into the ears of other people. And what else? I need to update my website. So I am in the process of thinking about this. I haven't contacted my web manager or anything yet, but I know that there are things that I need to update. For me, it's been more of a priority. What is more important now for my attention? Just because life's busy for me, just as it is for you. So I just wanted to say that if you're thinking that, I'm thinking it too. It'll get done eventually. And what else? If you haven't subscribed to my newsletter, that's the way to get to know what's going on first before anyone else. And I just want to wish you a beautiful week. Thank you so much for being here. Take care. Bye-bye.